Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And I continue with Mass Effect 3 Legendary Edition. Last time I met Jack and saved some of the, well, most of the students of the John Grissom Academy. It was a nice rendezvous with Jack there, and it's like I find the character development of Jack specifically to be kind of heartwarming, because she had a lot of problems, and I guess she still has. You probably can't get over that amount of trauma that quickly, but she pushed people away a lot in Mass Effect 2. She was very, very guarded. And she seemed, deeply unhappy. In fact, when you talked with her, it kind of seemed almost like she had this weird combination of, survivor's guilt, kind of a death wish. Like, she seemed like she didn't care about what's going to happen in the future, whereas now she has, she has become a teacher to those biotic kids, and it's clear she cares about them, and I find it very heartwarming.
Yes, Commander?
That's all.
Of course, Commander.
Okay, I have new alliance. 103rd Marine Division. Biotic students from the Grissom Academy have joined the 103rd Marine Division as support. The units have focused their biotics into barriers that shield the Marines and help control the flow of the battlefield. Kaylee Sanders, First Lieutenant Kaylee Sanders joined Grissom Academy's board of directors after she gave up her military career. When the Cerberus raid on her academy was thwarted by Commander Shepard, Sanders joined the Alliance engineers working to create the Protean device found on Mars. Her past work as a systems technician, specifically studying synthetic intelligence, has helped decode some of the complex feedback systems that control the weapon's energy output. Some of Grissom Academy's more technically minded students were saved from Cerberus by Commander Shepard. They've met up with Sanders, contributing their brainpower to some of the problems she's been tackling. David Archer is another refugee from Grissom Academy working on the device. Despite his youth, Archer's theories on interstellar cross-modulation have won him respect with the project's scientists. Jack, formerly known as Subject Zero, may be the most talented biotic of her time. After helping Shepard destroy the Collectors, she was offered a teaching position at the Grissom Academy by the Alliance. Accepting the position for reasons of her own, Jack continued to hone her skills while training her students. Grissom Board of Directors member Kaylee Sanders has vouched for Jack's energetic, if unorthodox, teaching style, impressed with the inroad she made with the children under the Rogue Biotic's care.
You see the feeds from Paladin? It's brutal. I'm amazed the Turians are holding it.
The birds don't quit when things get ugly. I'll give them that. Commander, you may want to check in on shuttle pilot Cortez down in the armory. I just got word. Everyone from Grissom Academy has arrived safely.
We wouldn't have known about them if you hadn't caught the distress signal. Nice work.
Thanks, Commander. Commander?
Thank you, from Stephen Hackett, forwarded from Kaylee Sanders. Hi, Commander. I didn't have time to thank you properly after you got us off the academy, and Admiral Hackett agreed to send this your way. While my students are out on duty, I'm doing what I can to help with the Crucible. It's an amazing project, more advanced than anything I have seen before. Some of my more tech-minded kids are staying back to help out too, and watching them work. It's the future, Commander. This project will inform human progress for generations, and they will have you to thank for it. All my best. Meet me on the Citadel, from Miranda Lawson. Commander, I've heard about your stay with the Alliance. I can only imagine what nonsense they cooked up to keep you there. We should talk. It's safer in person. You'll find me on the Citadel Bay, D24. Miranda.
So Jack's an instructor? I guess anyone who messes with biotic kids gets turned into a small stain on the floor and ceiling. Ooh, and that was Cerberus attacking the academy. Man, that must have been like Christmas for her. Anyway, nice job on getting them out of there.
They were throwing out some impressive biotic power.
Good. We could use some heavy hitters in the biotics department. It'll be good for them too. Biotics face a lot of discrimination. Maybe if they save the galaxy, people will get over their issues.
I didn't expect you to be sensitive about that.
Hey, I'm just tired of them stealing the spotlight from people with actual disabilities. I break ribs if I sneeze too hard. Being able to move crap with your mind is not a handicap. Commander?
It is good to know that Jack has thus far survived the Reaper invasion. I have amusing memories of her attempts to insert additions into my reports to the Elusive Man. Most of them centered around inappropriate uses of the word cockpit. Hello, Shepard.
You're positive you don't want to come over and talk?
No, the gun battery is nice and quiet. If I throw down some rugs, it'll get downright cozy.
Garrus?
I'll be fine, Liara. Just gathering some thoughts.
All right. It was odd to see an entire academy just for biotic children.
Don't Asari have biotic schools?
Every Asari school includes biotic training programs. It's basic education. Still, those children in the academy were very impressive. I'm sure Jack's proud. Ready for the next mission? Ready for the next mission?
A call from Katie Sanders to Jack. Hey Sanders, checking on the kids? How are they, Jack? They will do good. This gonna be long? I kinda got crap to do. I wanted to tell you, I persuaded some Alliance friends to part with that biotic amp you and the children were testing at Grissom. You can pick it up on the Citadel. Damn, one of the L3X1s? You know how much shit I could tear up with one of those installed? I had an idea. Look after yourself. Yeah, and hey, thanks. Email from Katie Sanders to David Anderson. David, you won't get this for a while, unless you find an extranet connection working on Earth. I have made it out to this weapon we're building. The device isn't even halfway complete, and it's the most breathtakingly complicated piece of technology I have ever seen. I wish you could see this thing we're creating. It gives me hope. Take care, for my sake. Actually, it's pretty creepy when you think about it, that Liara has the capacity to, like, she basically has galactic-wide surveillance 24/7, because I imagine she's actually, she isn't being sent those, she's intercepting them.
A pleasure to see you.
I'm glad to see we have Garrus back. I wanted to help with his scars, but I think he actually likes them. Feeling okay, Commander? Feeling okay, Commander?
One of the worst parts of this war is watching the kids react. If they're lucky, they grow up thinking the galaxy is basically a decent place. Some rough spots here and there, but for the most part, life makes sense. Now they find out it was all a lie. They wake up to see these things in the dark that just want to destroy everyone they ever cared about. If they survive, there'll be a lot of angry orphans out there looking for answers. Looks like we beat Cerberus again. Do you think the elusive man fires lieutenants over failures like this, or just lines them up against the wall and gets it over with? I wish they had had a Grissom Academy for Turians when I was growing up. Always wanted to learn how to paint. Now I mostly paint walls with Reaper blood. Not the same, but it's a living. Another time, maybe.
I'm not really sure what he meant, because he's not a biotic, right? So, you know, they do, I'm pretty sure they do have art schools, if he really was into that. Where's Javik?
Have you seen our newest crew member?
You mean the biggest story in 50,000 years that I can in no way talk about?
So you have seen him. Just wondering.
Oh, I totally forgot that you exist. Actually, I wasn't here after Palaven. I'm kind of sad about it because I probably missed some dialogue. But, well.
You know, in the old days, they didn't have automat on cameras. Reporters had to cake on the makeup. Do we need to talk, Commander?
No.
Not right now, Allers.
Let me know when we do.
I'm mostly just looking for Javik. She's so inconsequential that I forgot she exists.
Nothing to report, Commander.
Is Javik in the armory? With Cortez? Is that what the emergency is about? Oh, my space hamster.
Commander, I was exploring your ship.
Find anything interesting?
This space has absorbed much anger. The biotic instructor from the Academy.
Right. These were Jack's quarters.
During our fight against the Reapers, we had no time for teaching the young anything but war. Only the foolish mourn the loss of innocence. It is inevitable. The galaxy has never rewarded the naive. Commander.
Okay, so that isn't what the emergency is about.
Don't you dare. They're everywhere. You just get taken too. I can't just sit here doing nothing. Stay with me. Run. Get out of there. You can make it. No, I can't, Steve. But you can. Promise me. I love you. But I know you. Don't make me an anchor. Promise me, Steve. No, don't.
Okay, so I guess he's listening to a recording of his husband dying.
They're everywhere. You just get taken too. I love you. But I know you. Don't make me an anchor. Promise me, Steve. No, don't.
To be honest, why would you...
Commander. Sorry. Didn't see you there. This is a recording from Ferris Fields. Months ago. I lost a lot of friends that day. I lost my husband. I grieved. Said goodbye, made my peace.
You were talking to him when the collectors hit?
I was organizing construction at a remote station a few clicks south of the main colony. Robert managed to get outside of the field the collectors put up. Instead of running, he called me.
I'm sorry for your loss. He obviously cared a lot about you.
He was afraid I wouldn't let go. But for him, I moved on. Or at least I thought I had. Then the invasion hits, there's no time. And the one thing I grab is this. I mean, what's the point of moving on with your life when everything is going to hell?
Start thinking that way and we've already lost.
Yeah, you're right, but... Well, to be honest, I've never felt this alone as I do right now.
I'm afraid that of bioware's game design that is going to make him think I'm like romantically interested in him, which I'm not. But you know, I'm here for you in itself has nothing romantic to it. Like, you can be there for your friends. In fact, that's what friends are for. I'm just, you know, I'm just a bit shell-shocked from like Mass Effect 1 and 2.
You're not alone, Steve. I'm here, anytime you need me.
I appreciate that, Shepard, I really do. But don't worry, Commander. When I'm in that pilot seat, I'm there 100%. I won't fail you. It's just the downtime between missions that's hard, you know?
I know.
Commander, I feel terrible about leaving you on Grissom Academy like that.
I did order you to leave.
Yeah, doesn't make me feel any better. I'm just glad it all worked out. Good to see you, Commander. Good to see you, Commander.
Now, I do think it's a little bit ham-fisted, because why would he listen to that out in the open, on speakers, no less? Like, that's deeply personal. I don't think you... Okay, this has better power damage. I am more interested in shield regeneration, to be honest. Health boost, weapon damage. Okay, again, health more important to me. Although I shouldn't have switched to this in the first place, because I just noticed it has additional melee damage as opposed to more health. So I don't care about the melee damage, to be honest. Weapon damage versus health. You know what? Okay, this can stay, I guess. Like that. But yeah, I noticed I don't have my red arm, which does look kind of cool, so I am going to keep it like this. Do I have any lights on my... I guess maybe they only display in real time, I'm not sure. Okay, let's talk to James as well.
That Jack is a mean SOB, but kind of hot. If you like that sort of thing. So, Anderson and Sanders. That's quite a couple. Huh. My dad's last name is Sanders. No relation. Hey.
Commander?
Okay, I think I'm going to do some side missions. Just fly around, see what I can. Shrike Abyssal, Exodus Cluster. Okay, I think I'll just go sort of counterclockwise back to the Citadel. Because I don't think anything else is time critical for now. Like, obviously in universe, all of it is time critical, but with that kind of an attitude, I would never explore anything.
I found something.
Verush is a hydrogen-helium gas giant named for an ancient Batarian monarch whose empire spanned continents. He had such a penchant for mating that 0.6% of modern Batarians claim to trace their lineage from him. The planet's moons are named after his many recognized wives. The largest, Bira, concealed Prothean ruins that helped the Batarians develop FTL trouble. It is a Batarian point of pride that since their ruins were damaged by earthquakes, they had less information to go on than other spacefaring species. The Reapers have destroyed all obvious military outposts in the Verush's orbit. The Batarians' notorious secrecy, however, may have allowed concealed subterranean facilities on Verush's moons to survive. To be honest, I shouldn't have pinged it, because I should have read the descriptions first and then started pinging it. Weapon upgrade kit. Although the Reaper alertness doesn't seem to increase. So yeah, let me do that first. Speculas is a relatively large rock and ice planet known for its deposits of magnetically active Pericles, which interferes with some Starship scans. Conspiracy theories and pulp adventures claim secret fortresses are concealed under the ice. The Reaper invasion force appears to have passed the planet by, which is likely the only insight the Organics will ever have into the Reaper's literary taste. Karshan, the Batarian homeworld, is wrapped in less in mystery than in outright lies. Batarian propaganda claims that the world has 15 billion inhabitants and an economy that rivals the Asari. Although the legal slave trade does boost the Batarians' profits somewhat, Citadel sanctions have left a paper tiger of an empire, one that fights rivals through deniable terrorist actions rather than wars of its heyday centuries ago. The Reapers were likely to be the death blow to that empire, although almost no information has escaped Karshan since the Reapers destroyed the Kombuois, but Batarian refugees say that resistance has created a bond among its commoners. If a new government can rise from the ashes, the bond may sustain a new Batarian society. A dwarf planet, Desda was explored in the beginnings of the Batarian space age and mined for its unusual occurrences of uranium, which was rare on Karshan. Whether the planet has been completely mined out is unclear. Accurate data on the planet was lost after a power struggle within the Batarian government. The Reaper attack has further worsened the information flow. Pillars of Strength. Okay, a wreckage of a fuel depot. I've read everything here and recovered everything as well. Adek is a brutally hot and wet garden world, covered with molds and lichen analogues. It has many viruses and bacteria lethal to Batarian physiology. The hegemony colonized Adek early in its expansion, but a few of the colonists wanted to stay. The result was the domination by a class of landed slave owners. A small cadre of well-paid engineers and skilled laborers kept the planet's mech and infrastructure functioning. Alliance estimates put the planet's Batarian population at just over 6 million, but the number has likely fallen since the Reapers arrived. Klaus is a rock planet with almost no atmosphere to speak of. Consequently, the planet retains fairly little heat, considering how close it orbits the energetic star. The relative mild temperature made Klaus attractive for robomining, with an emphasis on platinum. The planet also has an abundance of sodium oxide, used in the manufacture of lye, but the profit margins on the compound are thin by comparison, the Reapers have destroyed the orbital stations surrounding Kloss and cut the strands of space elevators that earlier generations of Batarians used to transport goods to orbit. According to Batarian propaganda, the Batarian population exceeds the Council races, but the Batarian military is most powerful, and the Batarians' unlivable hothouse planets are the hottest and most unlivable. The best proof of the last point is Eska, which closely orbits the scorching yellow-white star Untrell. Eska's nitrogen-heavy atmosphere might have once held oxygen, but if so, it burned off long ago. Even robo-miners don't care for Eska. Although some modern mining equipment can withstand the heat, the machinery still gets stuck in the soup of molten light metals on the planet's surface. Reaper presence near Eska seems light. Scans reveal wreckage orbiting the planet, likely destroyed hegemony surveillance drones.
Signal confirmed.
Okay, I've just recovered 10,000 credits. I'm not quite sure how it works. Like, how did I just send a probe to a planet and found 10,000 bucks? By all accounts, it doesn't make sense. But you don't look a gifted horse in the mouth. There's no fuel station here, which is a bit frustrating to me because I'm kind of low on fuel, but if there, you often find fuel in the field, so maybe I'll be okay. Hunidor is a moderately sized ice world with an extremely thin atmosphere composed of krypton and xenon. Its frozen surface is unusually smooth, suggesting widespread repaving by cryovolcanic processes, though no such activity is currently evident. Vemal is an enormous terrestrial world of mixed rock and ice, with an atmosphere of methane and ethane. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of calcium, with deposits of iron. Because of noxious surface gases, explorers are warned to use extreme caution. Ploba is the second and by far the larger of Antaeus' two gas giants. Active scans by survey ships have returned tantalizing indications of massive solid structures deep within the atmosphere, too regular in pattern to be anything natural. Some believe Ploba is a Jupiter brain, a planet-sized supercomputer. Adherents of this theory have fruitlessly beamed signals towards the sunken megastructures, hoping to get the machine's attention. Others believe that an ancient spacefaring race disposed of their weapons of war by dumping them into the planet. The last attempt to reach and salvage Ploba's deep anomalies went tragically wrong and ended with a crew of 12 being trapped and crushed in the gas giant's lower atmosphere. Edmos is a standard hydrogen-helium gas giant with traces of methane in its atmosphere. If Trebin's terraforming is successful, it is expected that helium-3 refining facility for the system will be set up here. Trebin is a modest terrestrial world with an atmosphere composed of nitrogen and argon. Its surface is mainly composed of nickel with deposits of silver. Trebin's environment is relatively mild, but the scarcity of water or similar enabling substances have prevented the development of any biosphere. Exogeny Corporation recently performed a test impact of a single water comet into the surface, the first step of a long-term plan to thicken the atmosphere and introduce water to the environment. A survey team is on the surface, monitoring the geological and meteorological effects of the test impact. Most of the water released is still in the form of atmospheric vapor, but thick cloud banks have formed. There is every indication that this world will soon see its first rain. The survey team's progress has been hampered by frequent mechanical or computer failures in their GPS satellites. During the initial survey of the Anteus system, only a single flyby probe was spared for the small scorched world of Ageko. It revealed a planet unusually rich in heavier elements given its size. Ageko is a standard terrestrial with a thin atmosphere of krypton and xenon. Its crust is mainly composed of magnesium, with deposits of cobalt and other heavy metals. Due to extremely rough crater terrain, starships are discouraged from landing.
I found something.
Credits recovered.
Evasion successful.
Oh. Well, isn't that a pity? Okay, I can't do it like that. At least I'm pretty sure I can't. Although, maybe I can. I was just too slow the previous time. Okay, 100% assets from
Reapers eluded.
From here. I should be able to get by if I keep finding fuel in the field. Liara is a huge hydrogen-helium gas giant with traces of methane in its atmosphere. Though it's one of the oldest entries in the star charts, Nonowell has not yet been fully mapped. It is the largest body in the asteroid belt of the blue star Plutus, not only large enough to maintain a spherical shape, but also massive enough to retain the noxious carbon and sulfur dioxides venting from its many volcanoes as an atmosphere. Nonowell is rapidly volcanic, and the source of its great heat is also the source of its inordinate mass. Nonowell is a secondary source of element zero, coalesced around a large chunk of EZO ejected by a supernova billions of years ago. Surface conditions are extremely hazardous. In addition to a thin crust and numerous magma flows, wide stretches of the landscape are coated with slippery ash and cinders ejected from the volcanoes. Clocrolis is a modest rock planet, roughly the size of Mars. It has a thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and ethane. Its scorching hot surface is mainly composed of silicate rock, with deposits of aluminum and other light metals. Clorolis has a very weak magnetic field. In addition to high levels of solar radiation, it is not suitable for mass effect drive discharge operations. Maida is a terrestrial planet with a light atmosphere of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. The surface is hot and mainly composed of magnesia with deposits of sulfur. Over a dozen volcanoes are currently erupting across the surface. Mingito is a sun-baked wasteland of sodium, chlorates and radioactives. Its relatively light mass has left it tidally locked to the star Plutus. With a dayside hot pole and a nightside cold pole, the powerful solar wind has stripped most of the atmosphere away.
Signal confirmed.
Raisha is a standout hydrogen-helium gas giant with traces of sodium and ammonia in its atmosphere. During the brief gold rush to Glensal, a few companies established an infrastructure for helium-3 skimming and deuterium mining on Raisha's icy moons. When Glensal proved to be less wealthy than expected, the facilities were stripped for parts and abandoned. Gremar is an icy terrestrial with a thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and krypton. Its surface is mainly composed of frozen ammonia with deposits of tin and other light metals. When exposed to sunlight, Gremar's ammonia can melt, forming equatorial seas of toxic chemical. This has allowed a profusion of simple fungus and lichens to evolve in the low-energy environment. A byproduct of their metabolism causes them to glow very faintly. While the light of an individual is insignificant, large patches seem to reinforce the light of one another and are visible from space. Glensal has a thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and ethane. Its first geological surveys were performed by Batarians and suggested areas of great mineral wealth. Human mining concerns spent billions of credits hustling to the distant system and sinking test bores to claim the system for humanity, but Glensal only had an average level of mineral wealth, valuable but hardly worth the rush and expense. Merida Industria, a small Mexican company hoping to strike it rich in their first extrasolar mining venture, had to file for bankruptcy protection. Investigation revealed that the Batarian crew has deliberately falsified their surveys, hoping it would encourage human rivals to invest in a costly boondoggle. While unethical, it was not technically illegal, and the Batarian government disavowed the personal actions of a few misguided patriots. The planet is still littered with abandoned mining bases, which are often used as temporary meeting places for criminals. Nearrum is a terrestrial world with a thin atmosphere of methane and argon. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of basaltic rock. Its most prominent feature is the Elos Rift Valley, a large volcanic divergence zone that stretches across half of the northern hemisphere. Yartar is a terrestrial world with a trace atmosphere of krypton and xenon. The surface is hot and primarily composed of unremarkable silicates. Occasional deposits of aluminum, magnesium and other light metals can be found. Yartar is noted for the discovery of the Leviathan of Dis, the apparent corpse of a genetically engineered living starship. The Leviathan was found in the bottom of a crater by a Batarian survey team and estimated to be 1 billion years old. It disappeared after a visit to the system by a Batarian dreadnought 20 years ago. Since then, the Batarians have steadfastly denied that the Leviathan existed at all, and all the more vociferously when shown recordings of the corpse made by the Salarian researchers. Now this is very obviously a Reaper, which I've already talked about how it is going to be brought up later in the game as well, but I've already talked about how I don't like it. I don't like there being Reaper corpses just strewn around, because that runs contrary to their whole MO. They are supposed to be, you know, a legend, exterminating all advanced life and then leaving without trace. But if they left whole corpses of Reapers that have fallen in the previous cycles, then clearly that sort of blows their cover. That's very sloppy, and I don't like it.
I found something. Faster than light jump successful.
Okay, I kind of need the fuel, so... A wreckage of a fuel depot.
Evasion successful.
With a rare combination of features, Nepneu is of particular interest to the scientific community. It is a small terrestrial planet with a thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and krypton. As with all of the worlds of the Farinata, its surface is scorchingly hot. The crust mainly consists of silicates laced with iron. Yuntauma is a small, broiling terrestrial world. Its thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and ethane is being steadily blown off by the powerful solar wind from the star Farinata. The circuit surface is scorchingly hot and mainly composed of sulfur with deposits of copper. Its density is low enough to leave the world tidally locked to Farinata. The Alliance Defense Data Network notes that several ships have been spotted cruising near Farinata with transponders turned off. While an Alliance patrol attempted a pursuit of one, the unidentified vessel rabbited to FTL. Its trail was lost when it obscured its light trace in the confusion of signals along the Anansi Ishtar shipping lane. Tunshagon is a hydrogen-helium gas giant with traces of chlorine and nitrogen in its atmosphere. It has an unusually small number of moons for a gas giant, a mere 7. This is likely due to the star Farinata capturing the majority of the mass during the nebular collapse that created the system.
Signal confirmed.
I must say, it's pretty polite of the Reapers to wait when I'm scanning planets. Pretty nice of them. Alliance frigate Agincourt.
Reapers eluded.
Treyarmus is a hydrogen-helium gas giant with a powerful magnetic field, making it a popular discharge site for freighters working the Anansi Ishtar shipping route. It is popular enough, in fact, that Quarian ships can often be found loitering in orbit, selling the freighter crews cheap refreshments, salvage and old craftwork assembled by the children. There are no ships in the orbit at present, however. A large but low-density terrestrial world, Faringor is generally believed to consist mainly of water ice, occasional upwelling of metals, caused by the interacting tidal forces of several large moons, suggests that the core is small but extremely dense. Faringor has a thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and ethane. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of dark carbon-laced water ice. 13 years ago, Faringor's grim surface color and dim illumination drew the cinematographer Risa Uvarsen to film the exterior scenes of Starless on location. Acknowledged as a masterpiece of gothic horror, the sets, well preserved by the vacuum, draw hundreds of tourists to the backwater system every year. Xamari is a small, airless, cratered terrestrial, a lifeless rock quite similar to Luna. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of silicates, though one hemisphere has several seas of dark basaltic rock. An enigmatic terrestrial planet, Zayarter has a hazy atmosphere of nitrogen and argon. The surface is scorchingly hot and mainly composed of calcium with deposits of sodium. 3 times in the last century, ships stopping to discharge at Triarmus have reported geometric patterns of light on the dark side of Zayarter. Attempts at a closer investigation prove fruitless. The lights disappear when the ships move. This doesn't make sense. It should be either when the ships move into the inner system or when the ships approach the inner system. This doesn't make sense by all accounts. Hohe is a terrestrial planet whose surface is mainly composed of aluminum with numerous deposits of calcium. Though it has enough mass to retain a dense atmosphere, it is nearly a vacuum. This lack of atmosphere allows moderate average temperatures, but the difference between night and day is extreme. The surface of Hohe's sunward side is usually covered by a haze of volatiles, mainly water vapor and carbon dioxide, which return to the ground as frost over the course of the long cold night. The Stirta Foundation has established a research outpost to investigate the native subterranean life, which shows incredible resilience to extreme heats and cold.
I found something. Faster than light jump successful. Evasion successful. Reapers eluded.
Okay, I kind of needed that fuel.
Faster than light jump successful.
Plus, I derive satisfaction from having 100% assets recovered.
Evasion successful.
Okay, let's go to Sigurd's Cradle. Named for a 21st century pioneer of groundwater remediation techniques, Keimovitz is an impressive layer of ice over a stony metallic core. Despite its size, it only has one moon, Noah, which shares its carbonaceous composition, leading astronomers to believe it formed following a giant impact. Iridium deposits have attracted miners to the planet, who must work through robots and telepresence because of the planet's strong gravity. A hydrogen-methane gas giant, Pauling's gravitational field is believed to have cleared most of what would otherwise have been a sizable asteroid belt. The 2163 mission of space probe Ultimate gave the inhabitants of Watson reams of data reinforcing this theory, giving the colonists an accurate number of the rings, of the moon's 66 rings, moon-like ring objects, and more than 200 impact craters on the surface of its metallic core. Ultimate has since been recovered for reuse on subsequent missions within the solar system. And known for its spectacular gazes that can be seen from orbit, Crick is a rock planet with an expansive frozen ocean. Though it is within the temperature and pressure range for human habitation, its thick atmosphere is largely carbon dioxide and monoxide, making breath masks or environmental suits mandatory. The most abundant resources for exploration are potassium salts, found in the seabeds, which fetch good prices on terraforming worlds. A mid-sized rock planet, Darwin is ironically named, being one of the worst places for life in the galaxy. Its atmosphere is punishing, its temperature boiling, its chemical makeup toxic. Carbon monoxide and methane wrap up the planet in an unyielding haze, and scans of its surface show only silicates and molten tin. Its daily thermal fluctuations lead to hurricane-level vortices, two at each pole, forming eyes that can be seen from orbit. Despite all of this, Darwin is still used by spacers as a drive core discharge point. Hydrogen pierces the clouds in the upper atmosphere, making for a relatively benign approach. A large moon, Franklin retains the trace atmosphere of carbon dioxide, but its desolate surface shows no signs of water or life. In order to defend Watson from the pirates in the Terminus systems, Franklin is home to the two Alliance spaceports and naval bases capable of fielding 6 fighter squadrons each and a classified number of interplanetary ballistic missiles. Mass effect fields keep the gravity in its installations at a comfortable level for long-term living. Watson is known in the human media for two things: its spectacular tides brought on by the large moon, and the bureaucratic snafu over which Earth nations got to settle there first. Watson is a garden world, first discovered in 2165 CE, with credits claimed by the Chinese People's Federation, the United North American States, and the European Union. The Systems Alliance brokered the infamous Reykjavik Compromise, allowing limited colonization for each coalition in cities comprised of populations from each nation. Watson itself trends colder than Earth, with a temperate zone measuring about 30 degrees in latitude in either direction from the equator. Its life does not easily map to Earth's evolutionary eras. Some islands have species that resemble terrestrial placental mammals, others are overrun by anthropods. It is estimated that at least 2 more generations of xenozoologists will be needed to properly classify all of the species on the planet.
Signal confirmed.
A Javelin missile launcher.
Reapers eluded. Faster than light jump successful. I found something.
Liara Cloaked is a methane-clouded hothouse planet. Its lack of metal-rich core and significant magnetosphere allows for an easy scan, which reveals mining equipment on its surface. It can be deduced that this mining occurred within the last 5 years, any longer and the machines would have been worn down to nothing but by the excessive heat and dust storms of hot iron oxide. Sanctum is proof of the old spacer adage: just because it's a garden world doesn't mean it's a picnic. Freezing ice storms cover the poles and the temperate zones, leaving a narrow strip of habitable land at the equator. Dry but windy, this area is home to Sanctum's minimal terrestrial planet life. The planet has yet to develop land-based animals, though invertebrates grow quite large in the pelagic seas. Mining, referred to as ice cracking at everywhere but the equator, is a common employment on Sanctum. The planet is rich in platinum and palladium deposits, as well as boron, which is locally used in semiconductor doping. Carbon dioxide levels on Sanctum can reach 5,000 parts per million during thermal inversions. Travelers should carry a breath mask at all times and consult the Sanctum World Weather Service for warnings. Piracy is at a 14-year global high on Sanctum. Visitors should take appropriate security precautions. Colony founded in 2169. Population 257,300. Capital Vulpes. Increase damage to barriers and armor by 50%. Weaken armored targets by 25%. Okay.
Commander, I've got a hail from Admiral Hackett.
Put him through, Lieutenant.
Shepard, we've uncovered a secret Cerberus Lab, function unknown. We sent in a recon team, but they were forced to pull out before they got very far.
Any other intel?
We think they're using the facility to warehouse and study Reaper tech. We've been wondering how Cerberus is connected to the Reapers, and this might give us some answers.
We're on it.
Find out what Cerberus is doing and get me any Reaper tech samples you can, Commander. Hack it out.
Some tech with a Reaper signature. That's your first sample to grab. Updating your nav point.
On my way.
It appears to be Reaper tech, but the signature is new to me.
Got the sample.
Roger that. Meet you at the landing pad.
Oh, I thought it was the end, but I guess I'm dropping each of it separately.
Second sample located, Commander. Nav point updated.
Good work.
I'm on it!
Okay, that was dumb. For whatever reason, I thought it was there.
Good work.
Will only lead to metagel advances for Hanok. Only Cerberus would call that a failure.
There's another one here. Why can't I pick this one up at this point and be done with it? Personal log, Sita Lavi. Finally here. Whoa, the troops here really are intense. No one smiles, ever. And suicide on capture orders? Seriously? They are training integration. I start being integrated tomorrow. Can't wait.
Must be Reaper tech. My brain hurts just looking at it.
Got it.
Cortez, second set secure. Heading back to you now.
Negative, Commander. Head got hot. Have to bug out. Got 3 birds on my 6. Taking fire. Scratch that. Taking 4. We'll rendezvous when I can. Out.
We just need to hold out until Cortez can pick us up.
Nothing like being stranded.
Never said it would be easy.
Understood. Right away.
Stay focused. This isn't over yet.
I'm with you.
Cortez, do you copy? What's your status?
Engaging multiple targets. Time for something to be
Lieutenant!
There goes the easy route.
Just reload and keep fighting.
No! Okay, that was... Okay, I think it's saved though.
Understood.
Cortez, you copy?
I don't think he made it.
He'll make it. Let's just keep the landing pad clear. We're ready for extraction as soon as you can get here.
Understood.
Okay, that was by all accounts pretty dumb.
We're ready for extraction as soon as you can get here.
Commander, we've got our best engineers looking at the Reaper tech you secured from that lab.
What was Cerberus doing with it?
We don't know yet, but whatever Cerberus is up to, it can't be good. Even if we can't determine its purpose, we've disrupted their experiments.
I doubt they'll just close up shop.
Agreed. We'll keep sending strikes against the facility. Good work, Commander.
Okay, this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.